In today's video, I'm going to be giving you guys 3 different guard builds on NBA 2K23. The game has been out for about 2 weeks now, and we've finally been able to figure out the best builds in the entire game. The meta has kind of been exposed and the best builds have been perfected. But these 3 builds, they're not just all going to be like 6'9" players. I'm going to give you guys a guard build for the 1s court, a guard build for the 2s court, a guard build for the 3s court, and that same guard build for the 3s court will also work in like rec and pro am. And with all of these builds, you can use them in any game mode. Obviously, like a guard for 3s and 5s is really not going to be made for the 1s court, if that makes sense. And also, I am going to be recording this on next gen, but these builds will work for both gens. The builder might look a little bit different, the badges might look a little bit different. You might have a few less on current gen because current gen has less badges, but these builds will work exactly the same. You can still get the same exact height, weight, wingspan, and upgrade all of the attributes the exact same. And a few final things before we go and hop in and show you guys the builds. All of these builds are going to be very, very well rounded. They're not going to be lacking really anything. They can all dunk, shoot, play make, and play defense, and none of them have like terrible physicals either. In fact, I believe 2 out of the 3 of them literally have like max physicals, and one of them is pretty much max. But anyway, make sure to subscribe. We are on this road to 100k, and it would be greatly appreciated if y'all could subscribe. Something like 90% of the people that watch my videos are not currently subscribed. As well as if this video helps you out or you enjoy it at all, make sure to drop a like. But with all that being said, let's go and hop straight into the first build. All right, so look, this first build is going to be a point guard. All of the builds here are going to be a point guard. The position does not matter this year. It only matters for what heights you can get. And point guard can get all the heights for this video and go all the way up to 6'9" and go all the way down to 5'7". We're not gonna make it 5'7" in this video, but point guard can get all the heights we absolutely need. So all these builds will be point guards. All right, guys, now the height for this first build, this is going to be a 3s guard and a 5s guard. You can also use this build on 2s, but like I mentioned, this build is really going to be made for 3s and 5s, and the next 2 builds will be way more suited for 2s and 1s. However, those 2 builds, you could still run the point in 3s and 5s. You're just not going to be as good, but you could definitely still get away with it. All right, so this first build is actually going to be 6'1". Out of all of these kind of small guard heights, you know, you're playing 3s, 5s, you want to be a small guard. Out of all of these small guard heights, the one you get the most badges on is 6'1", and I feel like going just like, well, you don't even want to go 5, bro. 5A is way too short. You want to go 6'1". It is very, very short, but the shorter you go, the more badges you get. So you're gonna have to find that middle ground of how short you're willing to go in order to get the most badges possible. Our weight for this is going to be all the way down. You know, we're a very, very small guard. We don't really need anything too crazy. So it's all the way down, and then I went up 1 because it doesn't affect anything. And our wingspan is going to be 6'7". Now I'll explain as I'm going through the build right here why I'm doing all that. You know, it's very, very odd probably to you why I picked those exact measurements, but I'll go through right here and I'll explain exactly why. So starting off, this build gets contact dunks. It has an 86 driving dunk, and it unlocks pro contact dunks as well as gold limitless takeoff. Very, very overpowered, very, very good. Now in order to get all the badges on this player, we're going to go up to 75 driving layup, and we get 17 badges, which is plenty. You get 2 tier 3 badges, you can core 1, and you can get a normal one. Your 3-pointer for this build is going to be insanely high. It's going to be a 92. We could go 93, but it takes a lot of attributes, so we're going to go 92, and you get gold limitless. That's really the attribute where you want to hit. You want to hit 92 for gold limitless. And our mid-range is going to stay at a 78. And if we upgraded our player, we'd have to come back and put 2 on free throw. I already have a screenshot of the player I'm looking at. So free throw is going to be a 70. For our ball handle, we're going to want to get gold handles for days. That's one of the reasons I went short, and one of the reasons I went for this wingspan. Again, the 3-pointer is also the reason I went for this wingspan. If you go higher than that, you're just wasting so many attributes, and you don't really need much higher than that. You really don't need higher than that at all. And our speed with ball on this player is going to be an 89. Now, this might sound a bit low to you, but 89 is plenty. I promise you 89 is plenty. And if you go all the way up to like 94, bro, you are not going to have defense, or you're not going to have finishing. So you could, but just remember, like, if you go up, you're just not going to have any other stats. But with this build, you unlock every single move in the game, which is very, very good. And our defense isn't half bad either. We end up with an 86 perimeter defense right here, an 85 steal, getting silver glove just like that. And our rebound is going to go all the way up to a 56 right here. I'll show you guys right here. You get an extra badge point when you hit 56. And our block is going to go all the way up to a 54 as you get an extra badge point. So just from that, you guys can see our build is very, very all around. Now for our speed, acceleration, strength, vertical stamina, our physicals, this is where it definitely gets a little tricky. Acceleration is extremely important, especially for guards. However, speed is not as important. Speed is mainly when you're running off ball. And obviously on a 6'1 guard, you're mostly gonna have the ball in your hands and your defense is not really the most important thing. Plus 81 speed is still plenty. It's still a lot. And you're gonna be just fine with 81 speed. 86 acceleration is still a lot as well. And obviously for our dunk, in order to get contact dunks, we need to get a 75 vertical, and our stamina needs to go all the way up to a 95. Now with these last couple attributes, we're gonna put our pass accuracy up all the way to 75 right here, and our vertical to 76, and our strength up to a 38, just like that, getting this build 17, 24, 26, 22. Now you can get more badges than this technically, but the build just ends up being worse. I worked around with this build for a while, and this is the best version I can find of it. It still has that 94 ball handle, so you can get gold handles for days, and the build is still really, really good. You know, you got your dribbling, your shooting, you can get contact dunks, and your defense is still solid. But like I mentioned, you can get more badges, but the build is going to be worse. So hitting continue, I would go with pull-up precision and limitless range on this player. You can use any takeovers you want. You know what I'm saying? You get lockdown takeovers if you want to get like extreme clamps and be really, really overpowered on defense. But I just think any combination of one of these shot critting and shooting takeovers will be really, really good for this build. And if we go ahead and hit continue, I'll show you guys the build name. And the first build of this video is going to be a 3-point shot creator. That's kind of a cool name, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, this build is very all around and super, super good if you're looking for a 3s and 5s guard. And let's go ahead and hop in to the next build. All right, this is the next build now. And again, this is a point guard build. All of these builds are point guards. Now, this build, the stats on this build are actually like kind of insane, and so are the badges on it. This build is going to be a 6'9 build, and the next build will be a little bit shorter. But since we're making builds for mainly 2s and 1s, and you can still play 3s with this build, but honestly, tall guards are really the meta. So I'm gonna have 2 tall guard builds. They're a little bit different. You know, if you're not trying to be the 6'9 that everyone else is, I have another build for you right after this one. But for this build, it's going to be 6'9. You're going to go all the way down the way, and then you can go up to 187. And you can go and put your wingspan to 7'4", so you can get an 85 three-pointer. Starting off with finishing, this build gets a lot of finishing. So our driving dunk, we're going to put that all the way up to an 86. But if we go to an 87, we get an extra badge point. Next, our layup is going to go all the way up to an 80. So you get some pretty solid layup packages on this build. Our close shot, we're going to put up to a 67. And our standing dunk, we are going to put up to a 68. And then I believe we just go to 69 because that's what I did, because I had an extra badge point at the end of making this build. So I'm just going to put it for 69 for now. You don't have to put that extra stat on at the end, but I did. Next, we're upgrading our 3-pointer all the way to an 86 right here. We get silver limitless range at an 85, and that's really the main target you're looking for. But, you know, you can all the way upgrade it to an 86. And our mid-range is going all the way up to a 79 right here. Now, for our ball handle, you're probably thinking, like, this build can already shoot and finish like really, really good. I didn't skip on anything in those categories. Now we're gonna max our ball handle. We're gonna max it to an 87 for the badge points, and our speed with ball is going to be a 76, which allows us to get that overpowered Michael Jordan dribble style, which we absolutely need on a build like this. And finally, our pass accuracy goes all the way up to a 78, really kind of just for the badges, but we get 21 playmaking badges. And I'll tell you guys where to put your extra +4 badges on this build at the end. But you know, we could dribble, we could shoot, and we could finish. But that's not even the best categories on this build. I'm pretty sure the best category on this build is defense. It's probably defense. So we're gonna put our perimeter defense all the way up to an 86. Then we're gonna get an 85 steal. Then we're gonna get an 87 block. Then we're gonna get a 73 defensive rebound. And we're gonna put our offensive rebound all the way up to a 67 for the extra badge point. But the defense on this build is elite. You are elite. Along with being 6'9", you're lanky. You're going to be able to stay in front of the person ISOing or doing whatever. Your defense is going to be really, really good on this build. The next thing we need to do is put our acceleration and our speed both to 80. On a 6'9 player, 80 speed, 80 excel is super, super good. And again, I would say this is more of a guard build. I have a center version of this build as well, but this version of this 6'9 is definitely more of a guard, and I wouldn't really recommend running it at center just because your strength is low, your rebounding is low. But again, this is a guard version of a 6'9. And finally, we can put our vertical all the way up to a 75 and put the rest on stamina up to a 95, just like that. 17 finishing, 22 shooting, 21 playmaking, and 23 defense. And if this is me, I'm probably putting at least 1 extra badge point on playmaking, and maybe just all of them on playmaking, to be honest, because playmaking badges I feel like are the most important this year. I feel like you just need a lot more playmaking badges than anything else. So if I had a +4, they'd probably all go on playmaking, maybe 1 on shooting, 2 on shooting, but probably just all on playmaking. And so this 6'9 build has elite defense, can dribble, can shoot, and get contact dunks, and it's insane. This build is actually like one of the best in the game. And again, you can get any of these takeovers you want. If you really wanted to be toxic on this build, you could put lockdown takeover on it or slashing. But you know, I just like the shot creating and shooting takeovers. I like being offensive oriented with my takeover. So I'm just going to go with these. But again, you can go with any takeovers you possibly want. And you can see the shades right here. This build coming out as a 3-point shooter. This build is super all around and honestly one of the best guard builds in this entire game. And finally, the last build we have for you guys right here. This build is up there with the other two I already showed you guys, but it's going to be a little different. I haven't really seen a lot of these, but I think this build works out very, very well. And guys, this last build is going to be 6'7". Now that's a very interesting. I haven't seen a lot of 6'7s this year, but the reason I'm going for a 6'7 is I feel like if you're 6'9", 6'9s, they're okay at dribbling. But this build is going to be a lot better at dribbling than the last build I showed you. This build's gonna be a little bit better at like perimeter defense, a little bit worse at interior defense and rebounding, a little bit better on the physicals, and a little bit worse in the finishing. So it's gonna be a little bit like, it's gonna kind of be trading off a few things. But if you want more playmaking than the 6'9", this build is going to be for you. So with the weight on this build, you're going to go all the way down to 180. You can go up 2 to get to 182. And for the wingspan, it's going to be 7'4" again. Now we're starting off with the finishing, but this build doesn't get contact dunks. And I'll tell you exactly why. Contacts in this game aren't really overpowered. You really don't get as many as you think you should. It sounds cool when you're making a build and being like, oh yeah, this build gets contact dunks. But in practicality, these builds almost never get contact dunks with like an 85 driving dunk. You need like a 99 to get consistent contact dunks. So yeah, you might get one once in a while, but overall, I think just objectively, this is better to do. So we go to an 80 driving dunk because we get the best dunk package in the entire game. Quick drops off 1. And that's all you're going to need for driving. However, we are going to want to get some badges. So we're going to put our driving layup all the way up to a 78 right here, just to get some extra badges. Our close shot up to a 67 right here to get an extra badge. And our standing dunk all the way up to a 75 in order to get extra badges. I'm sorry, a 73, my bad. We get 16 right there, so we can get silver limitless takeoff. We get quick drops off 1. That's all you need for finishing in this game. Next, obviously, is going to be our shooting. We're going to just go ahead and max out our 3-ball. We get silver limitless range with this build. It's still going to be a super good ISO build, and we're going to 76 with our mid-range shot. Going into dribbling, like I said, this is where the build really improves. There's dribble moves you unlock at 90 ball handle. Even being over 6'5", you can still unlock dribble moves at 90 overall. I believe there's one really, really good dribble move actually that you do get at 90 ball handle. So this build is actually gonna have a 91 just because you get extra badges and it's really not that expensive to go up right there. I'm gonna go ahead and max our speed with ball to an 85 and our pass accuracy up to a 72. Getting 23 playmaking badges on this build. And finally, we have our defense. Well, not being good as the 6'9", but definitely being better than the 6'1", as well as obviously you are 6'7" on this build. So you're gonna have good defense pretty much no matter what. Putting our perimeter defense all the way up to an 87 and our steal up to an 85 to get those badge caps. Our block up to a 70 and our defensive rebound up to a 74 right there to get 19 defensive badges. And we can actually go to put our interior defense up as well and get 20 defensive badges. And now with these final attributes, we go ahead and put them on our physicals. We can go in 84 acceleration, 80 speed. Our stamina is going to go all the way to a 95. And the rest is going to go on vertical. Now you don't need a 75 vertical because you're not going for contact dunks. With this build, all you're going to go for is those quick drops off 1. And actually what I did right here is go 72 vertical and put the rest on strength just like that. But with this build, you're going to be able to shoot good. Your playmaking is going to be a lot better than the 6'9". You're going to have a lot more dribble moves. You're also going to be faster when you're dribbling. Your defense is still really, really solid. It's not bad by any means. And with your +4 on this build, I'd probably put 3 of them on defense or maybe just 2 of them on defense and the rest on either playmaking or shooting. But this is going to be a really, really solid ISO build. It's not going to get contact dunks. But like I said earlier, I kind of explained that already. Let's go ahead and hit continue and show you guys the takeovers I would go for this build. I would go for a lockdown takeover on this build. That's kind of one of the more weaker spots on this build. So if you have lock take, you get lock take on this build. You're going to get a bunch of stops and your offense is already super overpowered, especially your dribbling. And finally, this build comes out as a 2-way 3-point shot creator. It's a 6'7". It's really all around, and its dribbling is super good for being tall. So if you want a tall build that's better at dribbling than a 6'9", this is the build I would make. And this build almost has like 10 more speed with the ball than the 6'9". But then again, you also have some trade-offs like I mentioned before. It's really just what you're kind of looking for. But listen, that's gonna be about it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you guys have any more overpowered builds, make sure to let me know down in the comments, and maybe we'll have to make another video on some more overpowered builds, as well as if you guys want to see a center builds video. So if you want to see the 3 best center builds I have found, let me know in the comments as well, and make sure to drop a like on this video if you enjoyed it. Also, be sure to hit that sub button. But with all that being said, I'm out, man. Peace.